Good afternoon and welcome back to the roof.
Whoa. You don't do the introductions. We've already had this.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the roof in the heart of Yaletown. Today's topic, Ben is going to go into in a second. However, I'm going to give a quote which highlights the depth of what we're going into. Be greedy when people are fearful, and be fearful when people are greedy. Thank you, Mr. Buffett. Benjamin, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, so keyword there, fear, and as you've probably seen the title of this video, podcast, blog, however you're tuning in, is fear is what's stopping you from succeeding in this market. And so we're continuing our trend of controversial topics. A couple of weeks ago we spoke about arrogance in this market as a seller. This one is more focused towards the buying side of things. However, with that being said, whether you are a seller, a buyer, you're just somebody keeping an eye on the market, or you're actively involved in it, we think this is something that you need to watch and you need to listen to. And we're going to start the controversy right off the bat and get a lot of people riled up by this comment. But how do you win in this current market? You buy. So we are recommending you buy.
The second line after that we are recommending is look at the market long-term, no longer short-term, which I think everyone has become accustomed to doing in the last, specifically, handful of years.
Yeah, so to Jay's point, we're looking at long-term here. We're looking at it as a long-term investment. So for those of you out there who are looking to buy a property and spend 6 months to a year renovating it and then flipping it, this isn't the conversation that we're kind of getting at, and we're looking at what traditionally has been the case as real estate as a long-term investment here. So I'm going to throw some figures at you.
Again.
Some figures.
Okay.
Casual testing. Okay, so last week we used Yaletown. This week we're going to use False Creek, which is right in the back there. So we're going to take an average 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in False Creek only. And so in 2008, what do you think the average sale price was for that 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in False Creek for the entire year of 2008?
$650,000.
Ooh, close. $600,400.
Okay.
Yeah. So in 2019, that same stat, what do you think that figure is?
$1,110,000.
1,197,000.
Okay.
Your average home.
Close.
So yeah, so if you look at it from that long-term standpoint, you would have bought a property at $600,400, sold it in arguably one of the worst markets we've ever been in, and that transaction alone would have been at least close to take you to being a millionaire in that one transaction. So that's an increase of 75.8%, FYI. So you showed me another investment that has that kind of turnaround. And there'll be some people out there that are screaming, we're only partway through May. That's not an accurate figure. Well, in 2018, that same statistic, the figure was 1,217,000. So it was actually higher. Now there's more.
More stats.
Yeah, so this isn't a one-off. So that same statistic, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in False Creek, what do you think that figure was for the year 2000?
4, 5, 6, 3 something.
Yeah, it was actually 300,000 and around about $200. So 300,000, $200. So
okay.
2000 was arguably another extremely bad time in the market, and comparing that to 2008, again, another arguably one of the worst times in our market. If you were selling at a low period on average, you would have doubled your investment.
Yeah.
So to your quote earlier from Warren Buffett, for those of you who don't know who Warren Buffett is, Jay, why don't you explain?
I don't think he's currently the world's richest man. He's I think always top 3 or something. Yeah. 4, 5.
He's worth $89.9 billion with a B US dollars.
Fundamentally from stock market investing.
Yes. So what did he do when the stock market crashed in 2008?
He bought.
Like billions worth of bought. And then when it started to turn around, like it always does, the same with the real estate market, he capitalized big time.
Yeah, and there's always going to be reasons why you are wanting to buy real estate. Obviously, if you need a place to stay, obviously, if you no longer want to spend money on rent, and whatever your reasons aside, you're going to either want to get in or you're going to want to wait for whatever your circumstance is. But what we're saying is if you're buying with the long-term picture in mind now, as opposed to what, again, people have become used to, that you're really amortizing out any risk of that investment. And could it continue to fall from this point? Of course it can. It can do anything. No one has a crystal ball. But again, if you've got that longer term approach, you're always going to be in a safer position at the end of the day with more options, I believe.
Yeah, so I mean, we have a client that we're working with right now. She's about to buy a unit in downtown Vancouver that allows Airbnb. She's in her early to mid-20s and extremely smart, and because she wants to travel the world. So what she's going to do is she's buying her own principal residence because it's on sale now in her eyes, and she's going to travel around the world a month at a time and Airbnb her property. Now the building allows Airbnb, and she's conforming with all of the new laws here in Vancouver. But that money that she brings in from that Airbnb is going to fund her traveling around the world, and she knows that her property value is going to increase from, say, 10 years from now, as clearly shown with those stats. So she's actually going to make money in every aspect.
Yeah, and buying now as opposed to continuing to rent makes more sense to her because she wants to start building that equity instead of putting money aside to someone else's equity while just saving the difference.
And hey, we totally get it. There are a lot of people out there who are like, no, hold, don't move yet. And if that's your game plan, that's absolutely fine. That's a lot of people's game plan. But I think the same happened when it was selling, right? When it was a hot market and people were like, no, it's going up, I'm holding. And then, I mean...
Well, we've had that conversation last video, I think, on days on market and expectations and not meeting reality.
Exactly. And we've heard it like countless times, people saying, oh, I wish I'd sold. And the reality of it is you're either going to overcome the fear of buying in this market and you're going to be rewarded for that, assuming, of course, you still buy strategically, buying a good property and whatnot.
Always.
Or you're going to let that fear override you, and then when the market does start to turn, you haven't taken advantage of it, you haven't capitalized on your opportunity, and for that reason you lose.
It's pretty straightforward.
Excuse me, just covering or going through man flu right now, so...
You're taking it horrendously as well.
I know.
Surprised you're still here.
Don't know how long I have left, so... But I think that pretty much...
I think that highlights what we wanted to get across. The other quote, I think it's the Rothschild quote, buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own. Kind of falls in line with what we're doing today as well.
Yep, both extremely smart people who should take advantage of it.
Smarter than us, yes.
That's it. And so another question out there, and it'd be interesting to hear your guys' opinion on this as well, is a lot of people are saying hold, and again, we completely understand that approach if that's what you want to do. But if prices continue to come down and down and down, you'll find that eventually at some point, that is going to have a knock-on effect on the listings. Like on the amount, there's so much out there to choose from now. We're at like record amounts. So you kind of have your pick of properties on sale in such a vast majority that the lower and lower the prices go, you're going to be further reduced to those people who really need to sell and kind of have to.
Yeah, and then obviously once things do inevitably turn around, whenever that is, people will see that trajectory change, and then sellers will hold, thinking they're going to get more next year, so let's wait, and so on.
Right now.
Okay, we'll cut it there. Ben's dying. Thank you.